had happened, that mantelpiece that's there, in the back there, right there, that's the same piece that's there now. But in the 60s, that was the era, period of time, all of you remember, that's when you covered everything. You paneled inside your house, you painted hardwoods, you put wallpaper over things. Well, they painted that. It was a gorgeous hardwood piece that ended up painting.
Boy.
And this is 11 out of the 12 siblings. They're all brothers and sisters in the picture. They were missing one sister, Ann Meternuski, who actually had a hotel in Oconomowoc, was a resort area. This would have been my Uncle Roy's wedding. He's the second from the left in the top row. In 1951, it was his wedding day with all his brothers and sisters. That's not his wife. Next to him, that's his sister. But our weddings all happened in summer, July or August, because that's when we were closed. They used to close for 2 months. So now today, even my own kids wanted to ask if they could have a wedding at a different time period, and they said, well, then I'm not going. Someone's got to work, and it's always me. But these, the people in the picture, the gentleman in the top row on the far right, that's Ray Meternuski. He owned a bar up on Webster Street where Austin's is, called the Old Dutch. He ran that for a period of time. He owned the Broadway bar. He bought it during Prohibition, and of course had an ice cream parlor. I'm sure he honored Prohibition like everybody else did. And he also built the Century Bowling Lanes, so he had that. He had a bar out in Pulaski, and he had a bar out in Glenmore in addition to that. The lady in the front row on the far right, right there, that's Ophelia Meternuski. She married Frank Gertz. They had the Chatterbox on George Street. They sold that in 1961, and then moved to Green Bay and had a place called the Stein for years and years. Some of you might know Dee Gertz. That's Dee Gertz's mother in that particular shot there. The lady, my grandmother, is on the bottom left, right there. That's my dad's mother, Bina. This photo was taken in 1951. She was actually in poor health, living upstairs with her sister, Seal. I did recently find out, it must be a genetic thing, I did recently find out that she stayed with her sister up in the room, and Seal charged her rent to share a room. She was in poor health and actually died cancer within a year of the photo being taken. If you zoom back out a little bit, the lady next to her is Mary Helker. She ended up marrying Howard Helker, who was a bridge engineer. When they did the bridge in 1932, the brand new bridge back in 1932, all those guys were staying at the hotel. And she ended up marrying the bridge engineer as a result. The other one that's in here, the lady on the far left is Della Meternuski in the top row. Della was a really good athlete. Dee Gertz is named after her. Dee's name is actually Della. She ended up marrying a guy that lived upstairs also, Hugo Anderson, who worked at Nicolay Paper. The three gentlemen to the right of her, that's Roy Meternuski, Felix Meternuski, and Harry Meternuski. They ran the hotel, and then in the front, Seal Meternuski, the one with the glasses on there and the white, a holy lady. She ran the still. She lived upstairs in the dining room at the top of the stairs that we converted. We switched her room over. She lived up in that room for 65 years. With a bathroom shower across the hall for her. And then the lady to the right of her with the fancy hat on there, that was Ray Hines' mother. Ray Hine was real big with the telephone company. Telephone company, it was a main man that lived at the Union Hotel, hired a whole bunch of people that lived at the hotel. Cleve Clavis was one of them. Pat Martin was another one. Jim Martin was another one. These guys all lived at the hotel. Ray Hine was living at the hotel. They all ended up working for telephone company because of the guy living there. So it was quite a collection of people. And the sister that wasn't there, they couldn't come because they had the Oconomowoc Hotel and weren't able to close. They were in resort season, so they couldn't come.
Makes sense.
And this is a shot of the Christmas tree, probably in the mid-1930s, late 1930s. I was always fascinated by the fence, and I actually got a carpenter to duplicate the fence, and he did a really good job. Couldn't find the fence. We were working on the barn, had to repair a section of the barn, and when Blindauer's team took off the section of barn, behind the torn off section was the fence. And I was actually able to take the posts and put them side by side with what the carpenter did, exactly the same. Exact same height, same dimensions, even the hinges with a little bent nail to hold the slats in place was exactly the same. The mirror in the picture on the right there, that's still in the exact same spot, hasn't been moved. It's the same mirror that you would see. And the Santa that we have there is now in the background. We put that out at Christmas time every single year. It's a wonderful little piece. He's got to be, I would say he's probably from about 1910. And that's a shot of one of the Christmas trees that we have. It's an accumulation of all the ornaments that they have, plus we keep adding on. There ends up being close to 1,600 ornaments on the tree altogether, and generally speaking, 1,400 lights. Pre-LED, we used to actually have to open a window up a crack during the course of the night just to cool the room down.
Oh my.
It gets so hot in there. And the fire department signed off on that. We had special wiring put in.
Yeah. Oops.
There you go. This is Regina Willems. My uncle Harry Matanuski stole her from St. Norbert College. One of the Norbertines over there never forgave him for it. She worked for her mother at the college as a cook and a baker, and we got her to come over. A wonderful lady. Upon her passing, she actually bequeathed I believe it was $375,000 to St. Norbert College.
Oh my.
She worked for you?
It was an interesting thing with her. When I started washing dishes, she was the cook, and up and down her forearm she had all these little burn marks. I said, "How did you get that?" She said, "Well, I burn them on the racks when I go in." I said, "Well, geez, Regina, you'd think after the first or second time you wouldn't do it again." And she just laughed and said, "Yeah, you would think so." A wonderful, sweet lady. Back to the beginning. Oh yeah, there's my dad on the right, and some of you might recognize the gentleman on the left. He used to bartend for us, a guy by the name of Mike Jelenic. He had the Village Gate, which was across the street from Minahan Stadium. He bartended for us for about 3 or 4 years. Little polling complex there with the hand in there, short little tie. But he and my dad actually partnered and bought that Village Gate property, and my dad actually would go there and do the morning breakfasts. And then Mike would take over and run the place at night. He had a little bar down below, but a great guy.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I think that's it for the union, yes.
Ooh.
And again, at the end of the show, if anybody wants to take a look at the names on the checks, maybe for the family name, August Matanuski would be very appreciative.
I'm going to reinstitute a part of the program that we haven't done in a while. It's called the Boyd Chronicles. And
We do it every time.
and it brings back some interesting but unknown points about the Boyd family. This is a car that McKim bought recently. BMW is very nice, very frugal, as you know. I mean, rumors that you hear are correct, extremely frugal. Got into an accident, and he said, "Oh, I can fix this." And that's what he did.
Oh my God. Oh.
These are stilettos. We sell them at our shop.
Oh,
And
nice.
McKim got the inspiration. He wanted to make a special gift for his wife, so he took a snowblower that he just bought and redid it and made it into a
Oh my
special
God.
commuter car.
That is awesome.
It's the dessert tray at the
Twinkies.
Union Hotel. Again,
Cupcakes.
Twinkies, come on. And he added a new dessert to the dessert tray, and he called it the Donald, and nobody knows why, but it's really great. This is his great aunt Slivella boy, and she pioneered the new puffy sleeves. And very popular for a while, and they got a little bigger. And then she had a son named Lester, and they took to using the sleeves to steal bowling balls from the sporting goods side. And then one happened to fall on Lester.
Oh boy.
Created the Lester Boyd look.
Oh.
Then he got a job testing football helmets. And finally, he found out that air was free, so he had surgery so that he could capture
Oh
the
man.
Lester Boyd.
Oh
So there you have the Boyd Chronicles.
is.
Let's see. Oh, these are some leftovers from the last show we did. We didn't quite get around to these, but I wanted to show how St. Norbert grew with the
Oh, man.
with the neighborhood. This is an early drawing from the 1930s of St. Norbert, and right now all of these houses are gone
Yeah.
because the college bought them up and expanded. But at Main Hall, Van Dyke Gymnasium, Francis Boyle Hall, this was the old Abbey, St. Joseph's Church, and St. Joseph's School. And that was the extent of the college.
All the houses in the background there are gone too.
They're gone, yeah.
Boyle Hall was named for Francis Boyle of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Donated the money for it. The entire top floor was St. Norbert High School. They had the classes there, they had the
Borders.
boarders there, they had the dorms
Oh,
there, and
my.
they had the food there. And you can see these windows here were added when they did some remodeling. They made a library on the top floor of Boyle Hall. And they did that to accommodate more light. And here you can see an aerial shot. Penning's High School. Was this, what church was this?
The Congregational Church.
Oh, that's right. It's
And the
there.
Science Building, and on the east end of it now is the Malva Medical Center.
Malva
Yeah.
Gale, or Gale Malva, yeah.
Yep. And this is St. Joseph's School,
The Abbey back there.
the Abbey, and then they added this, the Priory,
Priory. yeah.
for the priests and brothers who were residents and taught at the college.
The college.
Right now it's a men's dormitory. Main Hall,
That building behind the Priory there, the long one, right there, yeah.
the
that-
heating plant.
Yeah, that's where they had the ROTC. They didn't have a shooting range in the basement there, the lower level?
Yeah, they had the shooting range and they stored all of the M1 rifles and the uniforms and everything.
Yep.
The Penning's Hall of Fine Arts, McCormick Hall, and the Sensenbrenner Union.
And still a house there on the campus, right? By Sensenbrenner Union, there's a house right there, right behind it. Right, to go up a little bit.
Oh, this,
There you
yeah,
go.
that's where, I forgot his name. but
Ed
all the
Longtoe.
Packers knew him. And
Who?
he said,
Ed Longtoe.
Ed.
Ed Wanto.
And very much endeared by the Packers. They would walk from Sensenbrenner, where they lived, or the other dormitory, and they'd walk right by Ed's house and chat, engage him in conversation, and he'd talk a little football with them. And they were very kind to him. This is Main
That's
Hall,
nice.
built in 1905, I think, or 1902.
The upper level of Main Hall was actually the dormitory. That's where the
Oh, I know what
they
that
lived
building
upstairs
is.
there.
Got it.
Tim,
Yeah.
can I correct you?
Yep.
The upper level was the auditorium. The dorm was on the, what would be the
Third
second floor. You call it, it's lower,
Oh.
first, second, and then.
Thank you.
Yep.
So not the basement, but the next floor. That's where the dorms were.
No, the first floor was classrooms and office. The basement was kitchen and recreation space and storage.
Okay.
And then above the first floor, the second floor was the dorm.
That's where the dorms were.
Second floor, yeah.
And then, thank you. And then gymnasiums. I've been saying that wrong. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Joe should have known this. He took classes in.
I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna talk to you later.
So is the office of the president where the dorms were then?
That wing, the.
Kunkel's office?
The classroom space.
Okay, he's there. All right.
Yep.
Got it. And this is the basement
Yep.
at Main Hall. In fact, one of the ladies in there, probably the lady on the left, is probably Regina Willem's mother.
Yes.
What a monster of a building. This is Byrne Hall
Oh, yeah.
on the St. Norbert campus. I think it was completed in 1942.
Oh, my.
And it was also the residence of the president, Dennis Burke, had his quarters there.
I did ask Tom Kunkel about that the other day, and he does not believe there's any residence. It's all been chopped up.
it's been turned into something
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Mm.
This is a great picture.
Jerry
How many
Banner.
remember Jerry Berner? Was he the principal of West Pier High School? Graduate of Abbott Penning's High School in 1962.
And he also taught at Abbott Penning's for a
Yeah.
couple of years before he went to West Pier High School.
His father taught chemistry, I think.
Math, I thought.
Math.
I think it was math.
Yeah, Mr. Berner.
Virginia.
There's Father Killeen, Father Abbott Killeen, and his brother Edward. And this was taken
Cadwell,
at the
Walker.
anniversary, the 25th anniversary of the Killeen brothers. Stanislaus Rona, Bishop Randall. They had somebody from Ireland here, Abbot Caldwell, and Monsignor
Nice.
Max somebody, I didn't get his last name.
Matt
I believe
Beamster.
this is the Father Beamster who started or revived the old Catholic Latin Mass
Right.
in that church on Lost Island.
St. Michael's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that Myron, Cyril Myron, is probably somehow related to the Myron construction
I
family.
think so, yeah.
Van Dyke Gym.
Gymnasium. I don't think that telescope was used more than 3 times at the college. They put it in, and then somebody from Chicago bought it, and they took it out.
Oh,
And this is them putting the top piece in the, what's the date on this thing?
It was like Jake
March
Paston, Jacob
1942.
Paston was the
42.
general contractor.
Uh-huh. And this is
1900s.
Oh, yeah.
Francis Boyle Hall.
It is
I
very
heard
old. Yeah.
that they were going to do some restoration work in there.